There is no inherent good or evil in the world. Those labels are just artificial constructs. Right and wrong are determined by the people who hold positions of authority. That's the way it's always been. So how then can anyone know this truth you speak of?
What's happening, y'all? Y'all know the deal. It's KitePlanet here, or Kite if you're like that. Some people aren't like that, but I'm like that. It's been a minute. For those of you who like this type of video that I make, welcome back. It's been a long time in the making. I've been preoccupied with some things, but I'm back like I never left. And if you're seeing this video, I may be already on vacation on a trip, and so this is the first in a series of videos. So maybe, or I may drop this earlier and then do some more, because I'm really like that. I could just pump these out if I want to, but you know, I like to take my time and really do my best, because I make these videos so y'all can see them, but I really make them for myself. So one day I can go back and look at these and be like, what was I thinking when I made that? Oh, that's pretty cool. So really a diary entry of sorts, and y'all are just here to witness it. But yeah, hit the like button if you like this content. If this is dropping during my break, we want a like goal of, what I have, 3,000 subscribers. Let's do 10% of that. Let's go 300 likes. If we hit 300 likes every other day, I'll drop another video while I'm gone. If we don't hit the like goal, then I'll just do some shit when I get back, of course, because I can't do anything while I'm gone. But yeah, so hit the like goal if you want to continue to see them. They'll already be pre-made, so I'll just upload them or make them release at a certain time on the following day after the next. So yeah, let's just get right into it, guys. This is the first video in a series, so it's round one. It's getting hot in here. Y'all know my slogan, and if you don't, get them the fuck out of here. All right, let's get into it. So today I'm going to be giving Dr. Stein a NEN ability from Hunter x Hunter. Dr. Stein from Soul Eater, yes, a pretty abstract character in anime. And I say abstract not to the, OG fans of anime, but to the newer fans. You guys know that in recent times, like 3, 4, 5 years, we've had a huge influx of new anime fans. They haven't got around to watching everything that we've seen and all the classics and all that stuff. So give them some time. But if you haven't seen Soul Eater, go check it out. You can watch this video still if you haven't seen Soul Eater. It won't ruin anything. It won't give away the story. It won't even reveal too much about Dr. Stein himself, because the power comes from Hunter x Hunter. So Hunter x Hunter is what, you might want to go watch before you watch a video like this. But let's get right into it. First things first, we have to decide the NEN affinity. What NEN type he's going to be. What's his attribute going to be? So I decided on giving him the attribute Manipulator. Why? Not really based on his character or his characteristics like it usually is, because Hisoka's NEN type personality quiz isn't an exact science, but it's really all we have to go on. And then a few other things. I think somebody else has like a little quiz or a test, but it's not exact. So I created this ability, gave it to Dr. Stein, and made him a manipulator because the ability fits more in the manipulation category. So that's the connection I made. I also wanted to continue with the I'm not even gonna say it. You'll see it when you get it. So NEN affinity type is manipulator. What is the name of the ability? Pretty crucial part. I've been criticized for some names on past videos. Hey, all's fair. I love it. I can make some better names. So for this one, I named it Phantasmagoria. I would tell you what it means. I'll put it up on there in case you need to know how it's spelled, but I'm not going to tell you what it means because it would give away the ability. Another name, more applicable and functionally sound name, would be Phantasmagoric Whisper. That really fits the ability, but we're going with Phantasmagoria because it's way more streamlined. It sounds really cool. So what does Phantasmagoria do? What is this Hatsu and this NEN ability I created for Dr. Frankenstein? Really, the beloved character. What does it do? So what Dr. Stein does when he activates his Hatsu is he induces frequent episodic psychotic breaks, making it hard or impossible for his enemies to distinguish reality from their own imagination. Yes, so he's making you see visions and stuff like that. It's similar to something like maybe Kyoka Suigetsu, Aizen from Bleach, but not, because Kyoka Suigetsu, as we all know, attacks all 5 senses. So you have no idea what's going on. This one doesn't attack all 5, it attacks maybe 1, but in my personal opinion, I think humans have a lot more than 5 senses. I think we do. Like common sense, you could count that as 1. There's a lot of other senses. We have danger sense that people don't really take into account, but we have 5 basic ones, and this one attacks 1 of those. So not really like Kyoka Suigetsu in the slightest. And obviously it doesn't just activate randomly like powers in Bleach. Like there's steps and shit. That's what Hunter x Hunter, there has to be rules and regulations. You can't just have shit. I'm gonna say it every time. You can't just have an ability. It's not what Hunter x Hunter is. So he induces frequent episodic psychotic breaks, making it impossible for his enemy to distinguish reality from his own imagination. Pretty broken. Sometimes they don't even know they're in like seeing fake things. So how does this work? How does Dr. Stein even make this happen? Right? How? Well, I'll tell you how. So if you know Dr. Stein's character, you know he has that big screw in his head. It's kind of like the most important thing about his character besides like the patchwork design he has. The little screw in his head. He twists it and it makes that socket wrench sound, that little click, 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 click. Unmistakable sound if you've heard it before. But he twists that screw in his head and it produces infrasonic waves that cause you to feel uncontrollable fear, anxiety, and uneasiness, leading to just overall delusion. So once you hear that sound, the ability is activated on you. But if you don't know what infrasonic sound is, or infrasonic sound waves, infrasound is sounds that are inaudible to humans below 20 hertz. It's still a sound, but just because we can't hear it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's sort of like the light spectrum. We see visible light, but there are infrared, thermal, gamma, ultraviolet. It's a spectrum and we can't even see most of it. The same applies for frequencies or sound waves. So this is sounds we can't hear below what's audible to humans. He produces these sounds, and just because you don't hear it doesn't mean you're not getting affected by it. So how does NEN come into play with this? How does NEN make this work, and how does the ability work? Because without aura, the ability won't work. It has to affect the other human. These sound waves just aren't enough. Infrasound, they produce mild effects. The uneasiness, anxiety, and just fear, very mild from regular infrasound. But this is Hunter x Hunter, this is NEN. The NEN and the aura itself will amplify these effects. How? So Stein uses NEN, the advanced application of NEN that makes your aura invisible. Very different from Zetsu, which erases and seals your aura inside of your body and stops it from escaping. NEN just makes it invisible. You saw Kurapika use it when he trapped Uvogin in chain jail. The chains were there, they're still manifested, there's still aura there, they're just invisible, not Zetsu. So he uses that to send his little aura orbs into the brain on these inaudible sound waves, on the infrasound. They travel on the sound. They're like microscopic beads of aura. Not really microscopic, but they're very small. And he sends them on the sound waves, and they travel in through the eardrum and get into the brain. And they amplify the effects, the negative effects of infrasound, which would be the fear, anxiety, and uneasiness. That's how the aura comes into play. Now, you may be thinking, where's the manipulation come in? You probably see it with he makes him see delusions by increasing fear, anxiety, and stuff like that. He basically induces schizophrenia almost, or just psychosis in general. But it works because this technique may be more emission at the beginning, but realize that emission is adjacent to manipulation on the NEN affinity chart. So he can use about 80% emission techniques if he completely masters emission. And it's Dr. Stein, so I'm sure he will. So 80% emission ability, he can figure this out. He can work this out. He can do this emission technique. It's just emitting orbs. He's not like emitting them and making them fly and do all kinds of fancy shit like Zeno and Silva Zoldyck. He's not doing that. He's just sending little orbs, not really controlling them, letting them just ride on the sound waves, the inaudible sound waves that can't be heard. So that's how it works. The little aura gets in your brain, the aura gets in your brain, and it amplifies this fear feeling. This is not a foreign concept in Hunter x Hunter altogether. Remember when Killua at the beginning of the story would face these stronger opponents, and Illumi's needle would cause him to feel like extreme fear and tell him, yeah, you gotta run away. And then the same happens with Gon and Killua when they were trying to go to the 200th floor of Heaven's Arena, and they were trying to get through that hallway, and Hisoka was releasing his aura and pushing them back. It wasn't really like the force of the aura, like a physical force. It was the emotions and the fear they felt. That it was like being naked in a blizzard. I believe that was the description of it. So imagine that, being naked in a blizzard in an art, you die pretty quick. And that's the message that Togashi wants to convey to when you compare a NEN user versus someone who doesn't wield NEN. It's so overwhelmingly unbalanced that a NEN user could kill a regular person in one punch with aura. So this is like that. It just gets into your brain and amplifies that effect, and you don't even know what's going on. Now, there are some different aspects of this that grant him special abilities. I'll get to that at the end, but I'll get to that at the end. I don't want to discuss it now, but just imagine fighting this ability. Let me give you an example so you can truly imagine it for the people who need a little bit of help. So you're fighting Stein. He twists his little thing, and you're under his effect of his ability. Now imagine he's fighting with his scythe because he uses a scythe, and he goes to swing on you with the scythe. The scythe's a very large weapon, and you go to block the scythe. The scythe changes into a katana, something very different, a different weapon, and you're like, what the fuck, like what is happening? And then you get slashed still, even though you thought you blocked it. So what happened there was, you're like, oh shit, like, okay, is his ability like changing weapons? Like, what is happening? I don't know what's happening. The reason you got slashed was because he didn't actually change his scythe into a katana, but you actually changed your guard. Like if the scythe was coming above, you go like this. And if it switched into a katana, it'd be a much shorter weapon, and you change your block lower because it's coming straight at you, but you still get slashed because it didn't actually switch. You just thought you saw that. And so this is a really dangerous ability in a one-on-one fight, even in a group fight. You can make people fight each other and hurt each other. Like Stein is inducing these effects of schizophrenia, and you're just seeing shit like phantasmia. Like I'm just telling you, phantasmagora. You're seeing shit. And it's like, what? Like you can't really distinguish reality from imagination, and that's broken. And sometimes you don't even know that you're under it. You're just seeing stuff, and you're thinking it's his ability that's changing these things when it is, but it's not him changing it in reality. It's him changing it in your brain. So nothing around you has actually happened. That's the broken part about this. Now, let's get into a new concept that I want to introduce here. I love Hunter x Hunter. I love everything about it. I love the power system. And so it leads me to want to explore different aspects of it, things that haven't even been talked about. So this would be one of those things. Now, Stein does not activate his ability until he fulfills a set of fake conditions he made by himself. Now, what are you talking about, Kite? Like, what do you mean fake conditions? So I've thought about this ever since I saw Crollo and his Bandit Secret Skill Hunter ability, where you got to put your hand on the book. He's got to like ask your name and your birthday or whatever. He has to do like 4 or 5 things before he can steal your ability. And so I'm thinking like, okay, what about fake conditions to trick people from understanding your real conditions for your ability? So Stein does these fake conditions to trick people. Why? Because the conditions for activation are so much simpler. And if they were to be figured out, they would nullify his ability immediately. People like Zeno and Silva figured out Crollo, someone who's extremely intelligent. They figured out his ability almost instantly, and Crollo was like, shit, like, all right. And that nullified his ability because he was trying to steal their abilities, but he couldn't. And once they figured it out, he was like, all right, I'll just have to worry about, staying alive, because I'm not going to be able to use my ability on them. You can still use your ability, it just won't work on them. So Stein will go around touching people, asking names, doing all different types of fake conditions that trick people. And so when people fight him and they maybe get away, they'll be like, what happened? Like, how? I don't even know what happened. And he'd be like, oh, what happened during the course of the fight or before it? Oh, he touched my shoulder. Oh, he asked for my name. Oh, he stole something from me. And then they'll tell their friends like, okay, he did this, and that. That's all we got to watch out for. They get around to fighting him again, and they realize it had nothing to do with his ability. Nothing worked, and they're still getting affected by it. So it protects the integrity of his Hatsu, because it is very easy to stop, because I'll give you the real condition for the activation. So all that he has to do is make sure that the target's ears aren't covered, or that they hear the sound. Now, they don't actually hear it because it is infrasonic. It's below audible air, like the audible range for humans. But if it goes into their ear, like it will, because it is sound waves, they will be affected. So if you're covering your ears, or you put on earmuffs, or your hair is blocking your ears good enough, you can stop this ability altogether. Such an easy way to stop this, and then Stein will just have to fight hand-to-hand regular without his ability, maybe forcing him to lose. And he also has to twist the screw first. So twist the screw and make sure no one's ears are covered and that they actually get hit with the sound waves in their eardrum. That's how you activate it. Now, if people knew that, it'd be cooked. He'd be done for, and that'd be it for Stein. They'd probably just beat him. So pretty broken. I love the false conditions though, because he is a very intelligent character, and this is something I could see him doing and other smart characters in Hunter x Hunter doing if it was written like that, but no one really does it. If I had an ability, I'd apply fake conditions and protect my Hatsu at all costs, because once people start figuring it out, I'm cooked. Like I've lost everything. Like people can just beat me easily. Well, not easily, but it depends on what my Hatsu is. Something like Stein's, he has to protect it. Something like Bungee Gum, it doesn't matter if you know what Bungee Gum can do. You just can't beat Hisoka by the sheer versatility of his ability. There's nothing you could really do. This one needs to be protected, and some other abilities need this type of protection too. Now, I want to talk about the, sub abilities he gets from having this Hatsu. Now, since he uses his ability on sound waves, his N, the sound waves serve as his N because they're carrying his aura. What that does is it makes his N extend at a extremely more rapid rate than anyone else that has N, like just the fastest in the story if he was in the story. So it'd be like a domain expansion, like instant N. N is the application of Ren that you use 10 in Ren to expand your aura and maintain its shape. Anything that comes in and out of it, you can tell everything about it. Who used it? Nobunaga famously used it for his like Shodai quick draw technique to keep Gon and Killua in the room, and if they stepped into it, they would have instantly been killed, and they both realized that. So it's a very dangerous and common technique that people use. It just depends on how you use it, whether it's dangerous or not. For Nobunaga, it's dangerous, but he can extend his fast. Normally when you see N, it slowly spreads out. For most people, it slowly spreads out, and then maintaining it's very hard. His travels very fast because it's sound. It does not travel at the speed of sound though, because it is weighed down by heavy and dense aura. The aura is on it, so it can't move at the speed of sound because it is not pure sound. It is weighed down by aura. That makes sense. Now, I was thinking that someone could make an ability off this. Maybe having a fast N could be an ability in and of itself. And then I came to the realization that what if he expands his N really fast, like in a crowded room, and then you know how sound usually diffuses. So he does the clicks, the infrasound with the aura spreads to get into people's brains, and if it misses people, sound just diffuses. It doesn't travel infinitely. It doesn't just keep going. But if he has his N up, the sound will just keep bouncing off and hitting everybody until everyone's hit. And so he'll have a immediate range where everyone gets hit and people won't even understand what's happening. Sort of similar with the ability, but even if you cover your ears, it'll keep attacking you, and you can't just keep your ears covered because Stein will attack you. And so yeah, that's a pretty cool, sub ability that comes off of having this Hatsu, Phantasmagoria. Let me know your thoughts though. Like I said, the few questions that I asked at the beginning: how good is this ability? How strong is the ability? Like rank it A, B, whatever tier. What job would Stein be doing in Hunter x Hunter if he was in Hunter x Hunter? Would be assassin, a doctor, a mercenary, bodyguard, an adventurer? Like, would he just be a regular hunter, hunting gourmet shit? All the different types of things you can do in Hunter x Hunter. What would Stein be doing? And then who's the strongest person he could possibly beat with this? You never know. Could he take on a royal guard? Could he take on Meruem? I don't know. I know the answers, but let me know your thoughts, guys. What do you think of this ability? I think it's really cool. And remember, 300 likes, I will drop the next one. And if it gets 300 likes fast enough, within like 2-3 hours, I'll just drop it the next day at the same time. So, it's all up to y'all. Hit the like button, subscribe. And as always, guys, I will see you in the next one. Make sure you comment. Peace.
君の気持ちを大事にしなかった私の